Photoshop offers a very powerful gradient editor. A gradient is simply a gradual blend between two or more colors. By harnessing gradients, you can create very pleasing backgrounds for use in a DVD menu or lower third. Let's see how to customize a gradient and then store it for future use.
Let's go ahead and start fresh here and explore what options we can use with gradients. One flexible way to explore gradients is to add a gradient fill layer. Just click the little black and white symbol down here to create a new fill or adjustment layer and choose gradient. This opens up the gradient fill dialog box, and you see the first control here is the gradient itself. I can click to edit the gradient, which will pop up the gradient editor. Or I can click to see a drop-down thumbnail list of different gradient presets. These are the ones that are currently loaded, so you can click to choose them. If you click the sub-menu, you could pick other things such as spectrum gradients, and then choose to replace your current gradients or add them to the end of the list, as so. See? And we can load those in. Let's go ahead and just pick a simple gradient here, this orange to yellow to orange. And now I want to show you some of the options. The linear style will do a simple blend from the start of the gradient to the end of the gradient in a linear fashion along a straight line. You can go ahead and make adjustments to the angle to change the line's orientation, as well as affect the scale, which will move the gradient larger or smaller. Next, you have a radial gradient, and this can be adjusted as well to tweak the angle and scale. And this creates a gradient that's circular in nature. The angle gradient essentially performs a clock-like wipe and goes from one color to the next. This is easier to see if we pick something like the black to white gradient. And you see that it starts at black and goes all the way back around to white. The reflected gradient will go in a direction and go from the color outward. Notice it starts at black and goes to white in both directions. Now you can drag to reposition that if you'd like, and you can also adjust the angle as needed. The last style is the diamond style gradient, which is essentially a reflected gradient both horizontally and vertically. And we can change the angle of that as well. Let's go back to that orange gradient, which is a little more pleasing. There you have it. Now, if you want to improve the quality of your gradient, you might choose to dither the gradient to put a little bit of noise in the gradient to help it hold up at lower resolutions and 8-bit color space. If you'd like to further modify the gradient, simply click on its thumbnail up here to open the gradient editor. This now allows you to make changes. For example, we can click on this first color stop and choose a different color. For example, purple. And now the gradient starts with the purple before going to yellow and then reaching orange. Let's pick something a little more pleasing like red. There you go. We can then refine this. We can drag this yellow stop to the right to increase the distance from the blend from red to yellow. Notice it's a very gradual blend from red to yellow, and then a steeper blend from yellow to orange. If we further want to refine this, we can grab this midpoint, and pulling that will make changes to where the gradient blends. See? Placing further emphasis to the individual colors. If you want to add a new color, simply click in between and a new color is added. In this case, we can go to white. Then, if you'd like to add opacity blends, simply click up top. And by clicking on an opacity stop, you could have this fade down its opacity over time, creating a gradual blend from the colors to opacity. There we go. If you have a gradient you like, simply click New to add a new thumbnail. And then you can double click and name it. We can call this one Sunshine. And click OK. And the gradient is then stored in the presets area. If you'd like to permanently save it, you'll need to click the Save button and name the set and store it. If you have gradients in the set you don't want, simply hold down the Option or Alt key and click on them to remove them from the set. There we go. Let's make a new gradient here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Let's change this to a new one. We'll do a radial. Click to edit. And I am going to remove the yellow. Click on the orange. And we'll change this to a new color. Really dark red. Put the opacity back in. And let's adjust where this white point falls. Actually, I'll just get rid of that altogether. That's pretty nice. Take the smoothness down a little bit, a little more abrupt. And let's put a little color in the middle here. We'll go with this dark red. That's nice. I can click New. We can name that Crimson. And click OK. Now, there's one other type of gradient, and that is where it says Gradient Type here, from Solid to Noise. And this uses different colors to create the gradient. Currently, all the colors are available, so it's using the full range of red, green, and blue. If I wanted this gradient to favor reds and blues, I can drag these here to narrow the focus, to say darker blues and slightly brighter reds. And that creates a new gradient. We can go ahead and click Randomize to cycle the gradients in that color to create entirely new ones. And if it's something that I like, again, just click New, and we can call this Red Noise. And you see I've quickly created 3 of my own gradients, at which point it's a good idea to click Save, and I'll just call these Rich's Gradients. You can use a better name. If I look in the submenu here, it doesn't currently appear, but when I reboot, my new set will load in the menu here, which I can then call up and add to as needed.